Hi, my name is Kevin Dooley, and I moved here from Irish immigrants. You probably get it from the accent, but I moved here in 2000. I came with my family, and it was one of those relocations for jobs where you don't have any choice but to come from Vancouver to Ottawa. So and it was in October, and I'm in a bit of a, I'm talking about relocations, and this was a severe one for me. So I came here, and then Bridgehead Coffee House had opened up here on Richmond Road, the first one, the one I'm talking about here, beside Mountain Co-op. And my life had taken a few turns, and I'm a writer, researcher, kind of stuff. So I needed to work in coffee shops, and I started working there, and I've been doing it ever since. And guess who was coming in the door? Not long after I got there was Rolf. And I just saw the man come in, I noticed him, and it was crowded one time. And I saw him go up to the place. There was a busy spot. And I just said to Rolf, it's just the way I am. I just said to Rolf, you can share my table with me here. And started a wonderful coffee shop friendship that went through there. I met him in different coffee shops along the drive. And I never knew much about him, but I knew his challenge. I could see this. I have a brother who's brain damaged at birth, so I could understand it. And I never knew until today the full dynamics of this man. I'm just totally touched. I'm totally blown away. There's a book in this man. There's a book in this whole story. Now, what I knew about Rolf was wonderful because I shared, again, I wasn't the only one doing it. We are his coffee shop friends. And the reason I'm here today is that I saw the picture up on Bridgehead in Westboro here. I didn't know Rolf had passed. I hadn't seen him. I just didn't know. And I also saw the picture up at the Legion in Westboro. And we know we've Legion members here too, because he loved the bingo. Now, Rolf shared stuff. I'm hearing this. He shared stuff with me because we would talk. And what I used to love doing, when he'd come in and he'd lay out on the top of the Westboro here. It was a favourite spot of his almost every day, and he'd lay out across on the top. You remember all the scratchies? Buy the scratchies. He'd buy a bunch of scratchies, and he'd lay them out across the top. And he scratched them all up in a big lay, and he lay out his lottery tickets, and he had his system going. He had a page. So when I hear about all these math skills and all these other skills, I saw another skill going on, him playing the lotto and scratchies up and down and winning and going across the road and catching his winnings. The people in Shoppers Drug Mart knew him, and the people next door in the Farmers Haven knew him. So I kind of just thought I'd share that with you folks because I'm totally touched by the big picture here. And the big picture is we're all here, and I'm just part of that small contingent. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much. The tickets, the lottery, that was always something, Rolf, because I kept an eye on the bank book, and there's always this question of where he was spending his money. But anyways, that got to something else. One of the things he did for 25 consecutive years was the Terry Fox run. And people would remind, Rolf, you're in it again this year, tell me when it's time to give you the money. And we figured that over 25 years, he raised over $5,000 for the Terry Fox Foundation. And another thing is the dogs. And when the dog shop opened here, that was his love place. That was the place where he liked to go, and he walked the dogs. And then there were causes there to fundraise for the Humane Society, and I think it was another dog. So there was over $2,000 he raised for the dogs, and he was sort of the dog ambassador, I guess they call him. And the mention of Bridgehead is that was a very touching thing too, because at the end, the last day that he was able to move before he had to be rushed to the hospital, he said, I gotta go to Bridgehead. And he went to Bridgehead to show him the dog of the day. I said, why did you do that? You know your health. Well, the milkman always smiled when he saw the dog of the day picture. And talking to the manager of Bridgehead now, he says, he came over to thank me that day in case he didn't make it through the operation. He wanted to thank me for all the things that they had done to help him. And my goodness, because this operation was supposed to be a success. And it was really for the first few days, but then water started to accumulate on the lungs, and then everything started going. So in the end, it just wasn't going to work. But I thought that's amazing that he went over there, dragged himself across the Richmond Road to thank management for all the kind things he had done. And so I think that's Rolf, I guess, his sense of duty, his sense of community. Is there another recollection of Rolf?
Hi, Mike. Can you hear me all right? My name is Siobhan. I garden at Golden Manors in the northeast corner. And Ralph would come along from Plaza Towers around to Dominion, and he said just special so he could see my garden. And he watched me from the first day I put that spade in the ground, several years till I had a beautiful perennial garden. And he was the most wonderful, kind-hearted soul I've ever known. Do you know he would come by with bags of doggy do? No dog in sight, but he would have collect the doggy do, and pass it over the fence to me, and I'd take it to the dumpster. And then he would come with beer cans and Coke cans and pass them to me, and I would take them to the recycle bin. I'm going to miss him so much. He was my special garden friend. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Rick, and I'm sort of a neighbor. I'm a neighbor of John's and Diane. And Bonnie and I, my wife, have known John for many, many, many years. We've probably met him on the street on Richmond Road over 100 times in the last few years. And I don't know if anybody from Bridgehead is actually here today, but I'm a patron of Bridgehead as well, especially when it was beside Mech. And Ralph was a daily patron there. And he would come in and he would have flyers from PharmaSave, or he would have the dog of the day he'd want to show us, and he would come over and say hi. But what I really noticed was how the staff treated him. When he came in, all of a sudden, from behind the counter, up it came this lovely blue Bridgehead cup, got filled with coffee. Ralph would walk over to the counter. They would hand Rolf his coffee, no money, exchanged hands. So I thought that was a wonderful gesture by Bridgehead. And I think Ralph was very deserving of that for all of the great things he has done for our community. And just as an individual, his personality just shone. Every time you saw him on the street, there was a smile and a greeting. Most of the time I saw him on the street, he was walking dogs, and which was his pleasure. I mean, that was one of the things he just loved to do. And I'm really going to miss him. I already do miss him because there's a big empty spot up there on Richmond Road. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Rick.
Hello, my name is Paul. You've heard so often about Ralph's love of food. And my wife, Mary Ellen, were a long time Tuesday noon hour cooking class with Ralph. I think the first time we saw Ralph 6-7 years ago, we walked in, there's this gentleman sitting there, and there was always at the beginning a cloister of us elderly retired people who could get away at noon hour to take a cooking class, and there's this man with a t-shirt with a dog in the back, and I was curious to know of him. And Mary Ellen took a shining to him, as a lot of people tend to with Ralph, and he just had this wonderful way of loving food. But what I'd like to add to what this gentleman just said, the staff at the cooking school just loved him, and he was treated with such kindness, but with not sympathy, but rather tried very earnestly to share with him knowledge of skills of cooking. And Ralph lapped it up. He just loved both the attention that was conferred on him, but also just being able to, he would ask my wife, what did they say? What was it? You never knew what he was going, I never knew everything we found out today about him, his life. When we read the obituary, and I said to Mary Ellen, did you know this about Rolf? Did you? And he was just our friend every Tuesday for many years. And hearing what we're hearing today about what he has meant to the people here and how he touched people, he certainly touched us. And I know the coordinator who was most recently there just loved him and dearly has missed him, because he just brought, when he walked in that room, he just brought a light to everyone who was there. And that's our recollection of Rolf.
Well expressed. Thank you very much. Okay, there's someone who's raring to get to the bit, and that's Rolf's grandniece and nephew, and Polly. Come on, Polly. Yeah.
You want to say something?
What's that? Oh, Maya wants to say something too, and Polly. Okay.
Okay.
Surprise.
Well, Rolf would help take care of our mom's dog, and sometimes he would even bring some recipes to us. So.
And while you're here, Polly, what about your brother? Is he around? And because I think you're going to sing and play a special tribute to Rolf. Okay, and is Maya going to help out too? Okay, Maya's impromptu going to connect. So, Toby, where are you?
He's coming.
Oh, he's coming.
One day.
One day. Yeah. Oh, here he comes. Okay. Okay. So these are Rolf's grandniece and nephew, and Maya is Polly's cousin. Yeah. Okay. Guys, it's yours. Put the mic back here where it's supposed to be. Like this. Like that. Okay. You can stand back here. Stand back here. There, that's good.
No one can do it just like you. Something magic in the way you move. You're original, you know it's true. Don't let anybody take your tune. You ain't got a single thing to prove. You're original, you know it's true. Just be you. You're one of a kind, the kind of once in a lifetime, not just another face in the crowd. You light up the room with the light that's inside you. Don't be afraid to let it out. So hold your head up, don't let anybody get you down. No one can do it just like you. Something magic in the way you move. You're original, you know it's true. Don't let anybody take your tune. You ain't got a single thing to prove. You're original, so just be you. Just be you. You. Just be you. You. Just be you. You're one of a kind, the kind of once in a lifetime, not just another face in the crowd. No one can do it just like you. Something magic in the way you move. You're original, you know it's true. Don't let anybody take your tune. You ain't got a single thing to prove. You're original, so just be you. Just be you, you. Just be you, you. Just be you.
I think Finn's going to play a tune. Where's Finn? Finn? Where are you, Finn?
Finn.
There he is.
Oh.